Hi, I'm Beth Trapani, and this is the first in a series of conversations on the Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds connection. And it's brought to you by Mission Healthy Living, which is funded by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. And I'd like to introduce our guest today. This is Ashley Pultorak and Laura DeFlavia from the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. And today we're going to be talking about the Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds Institute. So, ladies, welcome and thank you for your time. Tell us about how the Institute started.
Sure. So the Institute began by one of our local schools having the initiative to serve their health and PE teachers.
Okay.
And after a few years, they decided they wanted to make it bigger than that, and they wanted to have movement really be a culture within their school. So they came to us and asked us if we could help them to make it a bigger movement than just a health and PE focus.
This was actually the Boyertown school district,
that's right.
So they had a conference that they did every year with health and PE teachers, and you were already working with Boyertown at the time?
Yeah, they've been a grantee of ours for probably 8 or 9 years.
So you've been funding their efforts to get kids moving and get kids eating more healthfully and education about how to keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
So how did you take what they were doing with health and PE teachers and expand it to the Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds Institute so that other schools and organizations could take advantage of it?
Yeah, we used some of their resources. There's a retreat that they had attended, and that was really our inspiration for making it a bigger event and for allowing not just health and PE teachers to come, but for academic teachers and guidance counselors and other people to team up in a sense. So instead of isolating PE, we took it to a bigger, broader spectrum and allowed them to bring some colleagues where they, again, could work together to make it move and make it work in the schools.
Tell us what some of the presentations were about.
Yeah, it's all about how the brain changes when we move. So when we move, there are certain chemicals that are released. There are endorphins, all sorts of different chemical reactions that happen, and they do different things to our body. And one thing that happens through exercise is that it allows our brain to create more cell growth, which allows more connections, and we can learn better because of that, because our brain is able to take in more information and readily connect it.
Terrific. How long was the conference? And it's coming up again. We should let people know about that.
Yes, the conference was over 2 days, and it's coming up again this August 5th and 6th.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday and Wednesday, and it'll be happening at the Hill School in Pottstown.
Okay, terrific. How many people took advantage of it last summer?
We had about 175 attendees that were there last year, so we're looking to grow that this year. It encompasses about 10 school districts, so we're looking to grow that this year, and we're really trying to get the word out and have more higher attendance this year.
Sure. That's not bad for your first year, certainly. What kinds of things were school districts learning about as they attended the conference?
A few of our sessions were focused on classroom technique and how do we use movement in a standard classroom. So if I'm teaching a debate, how can I integrate movement into that curriculum for the day, right? Some of it was focused on PE curriculum. So how can I enhance what I'm offering so that my students are getting vigorous physical activity so that when they go to their next class, they're more ready to learn. Other pieces, again, were based on science. Some were unique case studies about what's going on throughout the nation and other schools who are practicing this.
How do you get a school district to embrace some of this? Because the big challenge that we always hear from teachers and from school districts is that they're pressed for time, and there's not enough time in the day as it is to just cover the basic academics that they need to pass the tests and the BSSAs and all that stuff. And now you want them to find time to get them up and moving as well.
Yeah, the major thing is that it helps their academic performance, which is a driver. Secondary to that, it should be part of their culture. So not just asking them to do above and beyond what they're doing, but really finding ways to make it work with what they're already doing in-house. So it shouldn't be an extra thing. And two, the students and the teachers are very enthusiastic about it, and they're finding also better behavior as well as the better academic performance.
How does it play out over different levels? I imagine it looks very different for a high school student than it would for an elementary student.
Yeah, the teachers, this is where they get creative and they're really wonderful at what they do. So they know their students best and they're able to say, well, the stability balls might work in this classroom, but maybe not for a certain age group. And so the schools have wellness coordinators that work with the teachers to identify the needs in the various age groups, and then they adapt with whatever equipment or curriculum or pieces are appropriate. So for example, some of the high school students might use heart rate monitors and analyze that data, whereas a elementary school student might use a pedometer because it's more easily understood how many steps you're taking in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you talk about things like, for instance, you mentioned the debate team, how do you, or the debate class, how do you work can you give us some examples of that? How do you work physical activity into what people would traditionally think of as a more sedentary class or activity?
Yeah, so one of the teachers who will be presenting with us, he's from Naperville, his name is Scott Miller, and he's doing a session on this. And what he demonstrates is that if it's a debate and we're talking about a specific point, and people have opinions, right? So if your opinion is related to this, go stand on that side of the room. So leave your desk, leave your feet, go over to the other side of the room. So you can divide the room in that way. Once somebody then makes an argument, you can clap if you agree. You can jumping jack if you disagree. So you can tie movements to your opinions or to your statements within a debate.
So you can become a little more interactive, and how does that help or translate into getting your mind more engaged?
There's some research about crossing the midline, and so there's some scientists who speak to our ability to work on balance. If you're familiar, some people also talk about skipping in correlation, students' ability to skip and in their developmental stages in correlation with how well they read. So there's research about how our body develops and how we control our motor skills and how that relates to our cognitive development.
And when you talk about the midline, you mean the center of your body. So physically crossing over can make a difference. What did you hope that the schools would come away with after attending this institute?
We really hope that they create a team-oriented action plan, again, seeking that culture change and using multiple players within the school to do it so that they're owning it among the staff and not just having it be another requirement that an administrator is asking them to fulfill.
How about funding for this? Is this something that's going to cost schools more money? Or is this something that you think they can do fairly inexpensively? It's kind of as you said, a whole cultural shift and a shift in a way of thinking.
This is a very inexpensive conference to attend. If you're one of our 7 collaborative schools, then your attendance is free for up to 15 team members. If you're outside of our serving area, then it would be $150 for an individual and then $100 per person if you're on a team.
Okay.
So
And do you think that the kinds of changes that school districts might need to institute or might want to institute as a result, are they expensive changes? Is there a lot of professional development required?
Sometimes. It depends. It really depends on what they do. And as we've noted, the schools are very creative in what they do, and that's the teachers' jobs. They're so resourceful. So we may help to supply some equipment for some of our local schools, but that equipment is not just good for 1 year. They're then able to use it for multiple classes, multiple students, replace it as needed. So a little bit can go a long way in this.
Okay. Yeah. If a school's interested in attending the conference, what would you suggest?
I would suggest that they check out our website, www.pottstownfoundation.org, for more information.
And they can find the information there to sign up and get involved?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. How about for parents at home who might be thinking, you know, my child comes home, it's the dilemma about homework. They've been sitting for most of the day at school, and now they come to, I let them play first? Do I do homework first? And how about, you know, just during the summer, how do you keep them easier in the summer when we don't have 2 feet of snow on the ground?
Yeah, there are tons of opportunities. The internet is a wonderful resource for us to learn about these brain breaks. So you can simply go to Google and type in brain breaks, and there are partner brain breaks, and you can work together to do these, sometimes they feel like goofy activities, but they re-energize us in very short spurts.
So things like getting up and doing
crossing your
jacks
midline, yes, all of those things. And some of it has to do, it's correlated with whatever educational objective is. So counting, the ABCs, you know, you can slap count, and they do a whole by 2s, by 5s. So there are lots of options there.
Do you recommend that parents get their kids up and moving before they sit back down and do homework as they come home from school?
Yes, absolutely.
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 And it kind of gives them that brain break, as you said, and gets them better prepared to
Yeah,
learn.
no doubt
Okay,
about it.
Terrific, great. Well, we'll certainly look forward to the next institute and hearing about what comes out of that, and hopefully some more school districts will be inspired to bring these changes about. Great. Well, thanks so much to both of you for your time. And again, this is the first in a series of conversations about healthy bodies and healthy minds and the connection between them. It's brought to you by Mission Healthy Living, which is funded by the Pottstown Health and Wellness Foundation.